Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Sasha Palatnikov. If you didn't see it, which I don't know how you couldn't have, but UFC 255, he makes his UFC debut in the first fight of the card. He gets performance of the night. They win their fight of the night. He gets an extra 50K to go on top of his purse, and it was a rock solid fight and is a really good way to kick off the big pay per view for the month. So, Sasha, thank you so much for taking some time to be able to talk about this and talk about your kind of career so far. But more importantly, how are you feeling right now?
Feeling good, man. It's been a few days, been able to digest everything that happened on Saturday, but honestly, what going online and reading all the comments and people saying that I was in such a war to come out feeling as good as I do, it's amazing. No injuries, just a couple black eyes that, which were my own doing after watching that fight. I put myself in a situation, but otherwise from that, just really happy with how everything turned out and feeling great and just ready to keep that ball rolling.
Yes, sir. I mean, I feel like black guys are just kind of par for the course at this point, you know? Um,
That's part of the job.
right. So let's talk about that debut. So, of course, you talked about this a lot. After the fight, you were on IG for a little bit. We talked about this some more. You enter this fight as a plus 400 underdog on this one. A lot of people kind of down you. A lot of people not really putting much kind of weight behind you in this. Of course, you only signed on to the roster a couple weeks in advance of this. And then you go out there, you win in TKO fashion in the third. Of course, you get the five night, like we said. And so, what was that whole thing like? What was it like being, I guess, kind of underestimated? And what was it like going out there and proving everyone wrong and being able to really show up in your first fight?
Yeah, definitely hearing that I was the underdog. It did surprise me a little bit to be like that big an underdog. And it was funny because usually, this whole moment I was just trying to kind of stay in my own little bubble and just make sure I was focused on the fight. Didn't want any outside distractions per se. But my dad actually was sending me videos of like random YouTubers making their predictions, bet predictions for the fights,
Mhm.
and I was like bored and just had some downtime. This was literally like 2 or 3 days before the fight. I was trying to make, getting ready to make weight. And, he's like, "Oh, did you see these videos?" And like, I don't think he really understood kind of like that I didn't want to hear this right now, but
Yeah.
maybe it was a blessing in disguise. And, I definitely like was like, oh, okay, let me check this stuff out. And I was like, holy smokes, these guys are really writing me off. And it's just one of those things, man. Like when you get told that you can't do something or you're not going to be able to do something, and you just want to defy the odds. And it gave me definitely that added motivation. And plus, I had so many people in my corner telling me that like, oh, we were going to win big this weekend, so I couldn't let them down. And I definitely took that in there with like a little bit of weight on my shoulders, but at the
Of
same time,
course.
that weight was right behind that right hand that eventually put him out. So I think it all came together perfectly in the end. And yeah, keep giving me that underdog, and we're gonna keep winning money. So that's all that we need.
Hey, I'm okay with it. If you want to say underdog, I'll keep throwing money at you from now on, and we'll just both be winning. Obviously, you take home a little bit more, but I would say you might be a little more deserving of that cash, considering you're the one fighting in the cage in front of millions of people.
Yeah, I mean it's okay. It's if we at the end of the day, it's like we're a team, man. If we all ride in, and if you're riding money on me and we win, we all win. So that's great for me.
Yes, sir. And then I think one of the biggest parts, you kind of hit on this too. Of course, not many people would kind of assume this just from appearance, but you're actually born and raised in Hong Kong, and you became the first UFC fighter to be able to represent that Hong Kong flag. And so, what was that whole kind of process like? What was that kind of responsibility almost like for you?
Um, it's obviously a unique one, especially for someone who might not know too much about Hong Kong or that side of the world. So I know people on social media were like, "What? This guy is from where?" But if you dig a little deeper, hopefully I can share some insight into it now. I mean, I was born and raised there. My mother is Scottish. My father is Russian. And they ended up in Hong Kong due to work. My father was a high diver and professional world champion, Olympic. He was a phenomenal athlete, still is. And yeah, along came me and my sister, and that was home. We had no choice in the matter. That's where we were born and raised. And I love Hong Kong. It's one of the most unique places on this planet, and I would always recommend anyone if they get an opportunity, bar COVID to visit, I would always say go and check it out. It's just very unique place, beautiful city. And I represented Hong Kong in junior levels and even as an adult in rugby. And
Mm-hmm.
it's always been home. I don't know any other thing. So once I was fully focused into MMA and wanted to be eventually in the UFC, I was like, this is something that I want to do. This is a goal I want to accomplish. I won my first world title, in 2019. So that was a bit of history that I first made for Hong Kong. And,
Mm-hmm.
that felt good. That was like that first initial step. And I'm like, okay, we've done it regionally. Now let's get into the UFC. I mean, that's going to be a definite check in the box. And, we did that this weekend, and not only did we go in there and get a win, we got, we had a good fight, we had a good performance, and the goals are to keep checking boxes, and I know what I'm capable of in the UFC, and what the forecast of the welterweight division in the future. I know what I can accomplish in it. So, just keep tracking, keep watching what's going on, and you'll see that these boxes are going to keep getting ticked as we go, and it should be pretty fun, pretty fun journey as we go, and just living in it, just keep working, and that's all we got to keep doing.
Yes, sir. I mean, it has to be really cool. Maybe you see yourself kind of like a trailblazer, kind of paving the way for more fighters from Hong Kong built to make their way to the UFC. Of course, we have Chinese fighters. That's not necessarily the same. We have Japanese fighters. We have all these people from kind of the Asian kind of side of the world. But Hong Kong specifically, it's cool to get that going. Especially Dana White has his version of the Contender Series in Asia. You think you might be able to lead the way for more fighters eventually to come from?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I know the core guys that are training out of Hong Kong. There's young guys, amateurs and pros that are currently working day in and day out to fulfill their dream. And, if I could be a pioneer for Hong Kong, or put Hong Kong on my back and at least motivate young athletes to, keep pursuing it, because like you just said, there's opportunities that will come. Obviously right now, this year, it's been difficult, especially on the smaller shows. But if a shot like Asia's Contender Series popped open, and that would be a huge opportunity for some of those guys. And I truly feel like there are individuals that will make a blast onto that scene, and people are going to see them. And I'm looking forward to it. And I speak to them almost on a daily basis, just tell them that, keep their head down, keep working. And, they're super proud and excited that I'm where I am right now. But at the same time, they're still chasing it. They're just as motivated as anyone would. So, I'm hoping in the next maybe year, if depending on how things go in the world, but in the next year or two, you'll start to see a couple other Hong Kong names pop up, and hopefully they're going to reference me as the first. And we always to train together, and it would be cool, to reunite in the PI, or to see each other on the same card. Something like that would be amazing.
That'd be fantastic. That's super exciting stuff that you're kind of paving the way for. Of course, the production team over there at the UFC might have to be getting used to you now. Of course, didn't really have the proper kind of flag in your whole kind of intros and kind of decals and stuff like that. Hopefully, they'll be able to change that because, of course, Hong Kong is its own place, right?
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong, we have IOC representation. We represent Hong Kong in the Olympics,
Mm-hmm.
but there are different factors, and there are individuals. For example, I have a very close friend of mine who's one of the best CrossFitters in Asia, also Hong Kong born as myself, represented Hong Kong, and he flies the China banner because they don't consider Hong Kong a representation of CrossFit. It happens, but at the same time, when they read this profile, they see where he's from, they understand. And if people like ourselves can give information, or share knowledge to people so that they understand, and who knows, things will change. Maybe I need to get a couple more fight of the nights or knockouts to kind of change things up a bit, but it'll come, and with time, because I saw the reaction. People were just shocked. They couldn't believe, the name, the way I look, where I'm apparently from. So hopefully over time, more fans, more people will tune in and kind of understand and see, oh, this guy's got an interesting story, but also he's from an interesting place, and let's respect that and learn a bit about it, because like I said, information and knowledge is power, and the more you have it, the better you'll be. So
100%. Of course, maybe that's just another wall to break through with that. But let's kind of you're speaking to it briefly. Let's kind of describe kind of your journey that you took to the UFC. You mentioned you are a former AFC middleweight champion. You're born and raised in Hong Kong, like you said. You then you've recently moved closer to the Vegas area, so you can be a little more prepared to be called onto the UFC roster if a opportunity presents itself. Like, of course, it did a couple weeks ago. You've had background in this. You've been to the States. You went to Buffalo University. You've trained in Florida, and so what was this like? How did this whole kind of journey transpire? What initially got you into MMA in the first place?
So I started in martial arts at it was the first, I guess, sport I ever did as a kid. I was 5 years old. I had a lot of energy, and my parents just wanted me, I guess, out of the house for a couple hours, or doing something with my time that would, when I come home, I would shut up basically. So, karate back then, back in the day in Hong Kong was, I hated it. It was something I did not enjoy doing, especially at that age. And it was very disciplined and you can't mess around. And I was the opposite. So it took a couple of years for me to kind of get over that hump, but eventually, it was something I fell in love with. And I was, immersed in the culture of karate and competing in Southeast Asia. And, I'm a competitive kid. So just the ability to compete against other kids in front of other people just seemed to be something that I was drawn to, something I enjoyed doing. And, but again, all my friends at school were all team players. They all played, basketball, soccer, rugby, all that kind of stuff. So it's team sports. And then I was off by myself kind of doing karate. So I kind of gravitated more to where my friends were and stopped, so much competing in karate at the age around 12, and just like immersed myself in rugby. And that was like my new passion. And kind of took a bit of a break from martial arts per se, but at the same time during off seasons and stuff, I'd be doing Muay Thai burners, just getting in and fighting other people in other gyms just because it was fun, and just doing it to stay in shape and
Mhm.
get ready for the rugby season, stuff like that. And then I moved to Montreal, Canada to start my university, and I just finished playing rugby professionally in Russia, and I was actually my first ever pay-per-view. I'd seen UFC fights before, but this was like George St. Pierre versus Matt Serra, like the rematch in Montreal, huge fight. And like I hadn't seen, like I'd never been a place where like the hometown guy, he's the hero, like everyone's talking about him during fight week, like he's the man. And I'm like, whoa, like I want to watch this. So watch the fight. And I remember sitting there, I was with a bunch of football buddies in an apartment, we're watching the fight, and I was just thinking to myself, striking's like pretty good, but I'm not that impressed. Like that's literally how I felt. I was like, I could do that, but then like the ground aspect came, and I was like, okay, well that's a whole different world. But I was like, I think I can do that. Then I started to be even more, more and more into watching the UFC, and kind of following it a bit. But football was still on my mind, but I still was I was a big fan. I was
Mhm.
watching it. I still am. I've been a fan since I was a kid. So, um, finally I went to TriStar like on a 2-week trial. They had like offered some free classes. And in the summertime, I went and, went with a friend and trained out there and saw George, and was like, oh, I'm bigger than him. And, like, I was like, oh, maybe like this is something I can do. Like, so I was like kind of interested in trying jujitsu, and it just didn't happen for about, I would say, a year and a half. And then eventually I made my way over to the States, and I was trying to pursue, Division 1A football. I was trying to get going in football. And I made this big switch over to a sport I'd never played before, but I had a big boot on me. I could punt. And
Okay.
there was people very interested in that. And so that was something that I was looking at. And
Mhm.
at the same time, I also didn't feel very fulfilled, because just kicking a ball and then standing on the sideline had been a big change to what I was used to. And
Yeah.
I'm action packed. I like to have fun. So
Man,
I
rugby
was
is a
kind of,
badass sport too, so I can't imagine. You're constantly going rugby. That's one of my favorite sports.
oh yeah.
And on the more international level, and so obviously, I'm sure you're kicking. You got quite the leg on you if you're a punter. You're probably make some pretty nice goals out there on the rugby field too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, right. I was a kicker in rugby. I did it all, and it was such a fun sport, because you're doing something. You're attacking, you're defending, you're
Yeah.
kicking, passing. It's a great sport. And but the football was kind of like, it wasn't really going my way. It was very competitive, very, it's difficult. Everyone's trying to get in the NFL, so I kind of just start to navigate, try to find a gym that maybe had like an MMA program, or grappling program. And I found this gym in Buffalo. It was called Buffalo Training Center, and a professional fighter, he owned it. It was a very nice facility, and he introduced me to jiu-jitsu for the first time, gi. And I went into that class, and I was a big boy. I was probably like walking around 230, 240 at the time, had no cardio.
You're a big boy for that. Yeah.
Football was just all my focus, just being powerful and explosive. And so they went in there and they're like, man, you should try jiu-jitsu. And I went in and, I was kind of like, I don't really want to roll on the ground in pajamas, to be honest with you. Like I never really had seen anything like that before. And, he convinced me. I went in, I tried the class, and I had like a little small blue belt take my back and throw in a choke. And next thing I was obsessed with the sport. I was like, this is amazing. Like I couldn't believe that someone so small had that ability to do something like that to me. And I wanted to learn it. And then it wasn't like automatically like, oh, I'm going to fight. It's just like, I just want to learn this stuff. Like, it's good to know. You never know. So I put about 6 months learning jiu-jitsu and I was training like 3-4 times a day. I was so obsessed. And then I was training with athletes who were fighting, and I would go and watch their fights. They would be successful. They would win, and they would be like, "Man, you should fight. You should, do some amateur fights." And I'm like, "Nah, like I don't know." And then finally one day, the coach, like I think I was helping somebody get ready for a fight, and I think I dropped him or something like that. And then the coach was like, "Man, like we should be getting you ready for a fight." You know what I mean? And I was like, "All right, let's do it," sort of thing. And I fought an amateur fight in Buffalo in upstate New York. And, back then it was illegal in the state of New York. So we had to be on the Indian reservation, and they'd have these good events, these cool events. And, I went out there and I finished the guy in the first round. I think it was like 36 or 46 seconds finish. And after that, I was like, maybe this is something that I can do, who knows? So that kind of started my amateur career. And then my whole goal after that was like, okay, I have to be good on the ground. I have to be able to wrestle so I can keep it standing. And that's kind of like, it was kind of funny. You could see that in the fight. Like, I was just defending takedown after takedown, just because usually when I'm striking with people, they just get uncomfortable and they don't feel they can win there. So it was just something that I was like, okay, in my mind, if I can create that, and I'll be a very, very difficult fighter to fight. And, it's been a long-term project, but I left Buffalo, went back to Hong Kong, and had a very hard time getting fights in Asia because, being at 170 pounds it's like being like a heavyweight in Asia. There's a lot of smaller guys, so finding that fight was very difficult. And I was a huge fan of the Blackzilians back then. And my whole thing was like, I didn't know yet if I was at that level. So I was like, the best way to figure that out was to go and train with the best and see if I could hang with them. So I was in Hong Kong working and saving some money, and was finally like, all right, I'm going to go out to Florida and just show up. Basically, I didn't have any contacts there at the time. I was just like, I'm going to show up, just be like, hey, this is my name. This is me. Like, can I come train, sort of thing. And pretty much worked out that way. I showed up. And at that time, I believe The Ultimate Fighter, American Top Team versus the Blackzilians was airing. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, I'll watch this and see like who the better athletes are, who's the better team. And at that time I went with the Blackzilians just because they had less numbers. So maybe I could get more attention. And, showed up there, and, they gave me a couple weeks training with their amateurs, and, smoked them a little bit, and then got invited over to the pros. And that's when I was like, all right, straight into the gauntlet. And then, it was tough. But at the same time, like I had what it took to stand with these guys. And, Kamaru at that time had just signed with the UFC, and, and then I was working with Gilbert, just everyone that's now starting to be a big star in the UFC or in other promotions. Like, they're now making that. I mean, I was just there with them at the same time. And
now you're right behind them too, which is perfect.
Exactly. And I'm just, obviously my demographic where I'm from is a little shadowy because nobody doesn't really know it, but what better place to get my name out than in the UFC and putting on a performance like that. But, I just always was kind of like that guy that was just doing it on his own. I never had like management or support. My professional debut, I took a fight on short notice at 185 pounds, but the guy came in at 209 pounds.
That's a little more than like a Mike Perry miss. That's
just a little bit, just a tiny bit. And, I took the fight because my mindset at that moment was like, oh, if he can't make weight, he's mentally weak. Which he was, but at the same time, that weight does play a role. Yeah. I dropped the guy in the first round with a body shot, and then the ref said it was a low blow. Kind of dumped my load a little bit after that, and then we got into a grappling exchange, and he just laid on top of me, and the ref stopped it off some like petty little hammer fist. But hey, that was my first loss, and I was like, okay, Not a great start, but at the same time, I was like, I got to pick my fights better, or at least get myself with the manager. So it was funny. I went back to Hong Kong with my girlfriend, and
Mhm.
we were just there on vacation, and that's where I actually met my current striking coach, Matthew Polino, Science Striking, and he was like, man, we can get you a fight in Hong Kong. Like, just make sure you're ready, this, that, and the other. So usually what happens is when Hong Kong has MMA events, it's like a feeder ground for like
Mhm.
up and coming Koreans and Japanese, like up and coming big names out of there. They come and send them out to like Hong Kong and Philippines just to build their record a little bit. So usually they'll get pretty easy fights when they come out.
Mhm.
And nobody knew who I was. Like, I just spent like maybe last 4 or 5 years out of Hong Kong. I wasn't really training in Hong Kong at all, so nobody knew what my abilities were. So they matched me up with the 2017 World Combat Sambo World Champ. He went out to Russia from Korea and just demolished everyone in the 82 kilo division, just killing dudes. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this guy is like got credentials, and he's a beast. He was 1-0 at the time. I believe after fighting me, he's on a 5-fight win streak. So the guy is legit. So I starched him in the second round. And at that time, like I said, I didn't have management. His manager came and approached me, and he said, hey, do you have management? Would you be interested? Maybe we can get you fights in Korea. I said, man, this is what I've been looking for. Any opportunity to fight. If you can get me fights, let's do it. So I signed with him the next day. And from there, that's what gave me my entry into Korea. So I went and fought in Korea, made my debut out there, won that fight, pretty convincingly against a kickboxer that was 27-1.
Mhm.
It was his, like, I think, fifth fight. And then not long after that, they offered me a title fight against one of their guys coming back from injury, and smashed him for 5 rounds, which was a great experience. And then I was like, cool. Like, they have their number one middleweight in Korea. I think he's like 23-13,
Mhm.
experience. He's got wins over UFC vets. So I was like, man, that's the fight I want. That's the kind of thing I need on my record to go to the UFC. That's what I want to get on there. So unfortunately, like, it just never came. And I don't know why. I guess, COVID came, and he's fighting now for the interim belt. And now I guess I'm the former champ. So he's going to be fighting for the middleweight. So it doesn't really matter anymore. But at that time, I was doing a training camp in Ukraine. And that's when I got my first call up for UAE Warriors to fight Munir Lazez.
Mhm.
And they called me on 5 days notice. And they said, look, man, I didn't even have fight shorts for the fight. I had, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even have my cup. I didn't have nothing. I just went out there for a boxing camp. So, but they were like, they offered me, good money. And at the same time, I was like, this is the opportunity I'm looking for to get into another
Mhm.
promotion. I'm helping them out. They need a guy. So I was like, let's do it. So they booked my flight from the Ukraine, from Kiev straight to Abu Dhabi.
So the
Flew
crazy
out
thing
there.
is, like, for those that don't know, this was literally just pretty much a year ago, back in October of 2019.
Correct.
So it's super recent, which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. And yeah, and basically I just showed up in Abu Dhabi. My best friend and my pad holder, Matt, Science Striking. I was like, dude, what you doing? He's like, oh, I just came back from vacation with my girl. I was like, you want to jump on a plane and come to Abu Dhabi? He's like, let's do it. So, like, everything was just strung together last minute. And like, I had a torn meniscus already. I had this surgery already scheduled in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
But I just took the fight anyway because I was like, the money was good. And I honestly thought that this guy was a striker. Like, I know Munir. I've watched all his fights.
Mhm.
He's never gone for the takedown. And I was having issues wrestling and grappling. That was what the issue was with my knee. But striking wise, I was feeling good. So I was like, if we can get into a only striking fight, like, I can beat this guy. I really felt that going into the fight. And we went into the fight. It was a good experience. I loved it. The whole show, the promotion, UA Warriors is really good. But going into that fight, man, my footwork is something that I pride myself on, and I could tell already that I had Munir very, very antsy, very uneasy in that fight, and he was the one who shot on me straight away. Which, again, I told you is inevitable when I fight anyone. They shoot on me. So
Yeah.
that caught me off guard, and we created a scramble, go back to our feet. We both rocked each other. I took his back, and then as soon as we started working on the ground, I didn't have any strength in my legs, and he turned position, and it was weird because in my career it says I've been TKO'd twice. I
Mhm.
haven't been hurt once in a fight. I have never been hit to the face and damaged. I've never been I mean, the closest I got hurt
Yeah.
was this past weekend, and
Of course, there's little kind of
those,
questionable shots at the back of the head, but
yeah, can take about 17 of those and still keep going. And that fight, Munir was in my half guard, and he was landing some ground and pound through my arms. You know, he landed a couple of elbows that kind of went through to the side, and I was just hanging out, you know, just like, okay, I'm losing this round, 12 seconds to go. Let's just, you know, put that away and come out in the second round. And the next thing you know, the ref steps in and stops the fight. I look at him like, what just happened? My corner's like, dude, you were fine. What's going on? So it was just one of those situations where
hometown officiating kind of stuff.
I mean, you know, hometown guy, you know, whatever it is, I didn't really complain at the time. I didn't want to make a fool of myself, but after watching the fight and you know, thinking about it a little bit, I was like, oh, that's strange. But at the same time, it kind of put a blemish on my record that actually worked in my favor. Coming in, like I said, if those losses weren't there, maybe it would have changed my money line. Maybe it would have changed everything going in. But, you know, Munir did very well in his UFC debut, as a lot of people are aware. And that's a fight that 100% that I will be running back if he wants to take it. Of course, that's the ball's in his court, but I would love to run this back on a full camp. And who knows, we might even cross paths one day in the contender, getting into that top 15 contender. So it's going to be inevitable. And there'll be a little bit of backstory behind it, and hopefully we'll get to fight in my backyard here in Vegas. But again, that was the situation there. And again, I kind of rambled on of the career, but yeah, that was kind of how everything, you know, in a 3-year span went from 2017 until now in the end of 2020 and being in the UFC.
It really is quite remarkable how much happened within those few years. I'm sure it's just been kind of like a whole kind of whirlwind so far, and everything's just moving at 100 miles per hour. Is it hard to keep up? Is it weird to look back and only like a few years ago I was over here and now I'm in the UFC and I've made it to what, or at least what most people consider is making it, and you've done this. What's that kind of like to think about?
I mean, it's a cool feeling because, you know, when you set goals, you want to accomplish them. So to accomplish it, I mean, I personally thought this was going to happen maybe in like 6 months from now. Maybe I needed like a couple more wins on my record, but Lewis, you know, had four current UFC fighters turn down a fight with him. If there's one thing on my MO is I don't turn down fights, no matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they've done or what they've accomplished. There is a puzzle, and I can solve most puzzles. So we're all humans, unless I'm fighting some like alien that's maybe a little bit different. But most people that we fight, we all bleed bread. We're all humans, so we can all be beaten. And so it was interesting for me that he had so many people not want to fight. And when I got that call up, it took me about 3 seconds, and I already said yes. Didn't even ask who the opponent was.
Doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't. You know, if you're a fighter, you fight. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they've accomplished, what they've done. And
seems like between the guys I've talked to, especially most recently, Justin James, he made his debut at UFC Vegas back in, I think it was UFC Vegas 3 back in June. He won in 40 seconds in his debut, and he almost has the same mentality that you have been displaying. It's that whole, if we want to name a name, it'd be that Don Cerrone kind of mentality. Anyone, anywhere, anytime. And do you kind of share the same sentiment that he's kind of changed the mindset for all these new up and coming fighters? Has he kind of set the tone in to perform in this certain way and to act in this certain way?
You know, I don't know, because when I was growing up, when I was, you know, starting off in my MMA career here in 2016, like in Florida, I thought, man, like everyone was down to fight everybody. You know, this is like America. Everybody wants to fight. They're all tough. And then I found out it wasn't the case necessarily. You know, a lot of people, they give a certain image or they speak a certain way and they want you to think something. But then when you get to the negotiating table, everything kind of changes. I mean, I had 8 fights in a 16-month span that fell out due to people not showing up to the weigh-in. This is for a professional fight, people pulling out, you know, days before. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, maybe this is never ever going to happen. But it all depends where you are. And you know, the United States is a huge country, and you know, there are tough people everywhere. And you know, sometimes you're going to cross paths with people that just have that mindset. I mean, someone like Sean Strickland, for example, he's a training partner of mine,
Guy
and
you're
you
supposed
know,
to
he's just
corner. And then you got the little Rona, of course.
yes.
That whole deal.
Unfortunately, I was hoping like getting to corner Strickland would give me kind of like that insight into the lights of the UFC, warm me up. But it was, 2 weeks later that I got to do it myself. And he's a prime example. I mean, like that guy is a professional fighter. He'll fight anyone, anywhere. He doesn't care. And I've just always had, like I said, I've had that mentality from a kid. Like you show up, you get off a plane in Malaysia and you show up to a tournament. You don't even know who you're fighting. You don't even know their name. You can't even say their name. So you just show up and you're like, oh, that's the guy. Okay. And then maybe afterwards you find out, oh, that guy won like 46 fights in a row. And you're like, oh, sick, like that's great, but if you go in there, you're like, oh my God, like his Instagram shows he kicks hard. Maybe I shouldn't take that fight,
Maybe it's
It's just,
almost better in a way to not know kind of like what you're going up against in some cases because the mind's kind of a piece of crap sometimes when it comes to like kind of beating yourself up and defeating yourself beforehand. Whereas
yep,
if you don't know how bad something can be, you it's almost like a blissful ignorance in the way where you just go you go handle business, and that's what you've been describing that you do most of the time.
for sure. I mean, again, mental game is like one of the most important. You can look great physically in the gym. You can look amazing every time you step on that mat, but if you're not there mentally, if you're not aware and you're not focused, nothing is going to be success. Everything is going to be doubt. And my mindset is, like I think I said in my interview, is one of my biggest strengths. I've been working on it for years, and I don't doubt my ability. I don't doubt anything that I do. Everything is really in my control. And like I said, every puzzle that I come to face in the ring is something that I come to solve. And and I feel like my abilities to do that translate very well for the audience, and for people that watch me. And you'll see it's something that I've prided myself on. I'm a big chess player. I'm someone that likes strategy. I like to think. And if I'm in the cage showing no emotion and I'm relaxed and comfortable and just doing what I usually do, it usually transpires into a pretty brutal knockout or something that just ends up being very entertaining for the fans. And like I said, not a lot of people watched me leading up to this point in my career, which is cool. But at the same time, it's like, wow, now they've got so much to look forward to when I get back in there. So
Exactly. If people didn't know your name before Saturday, they 100% do now. And I kind of want to talk about what you're kind of alluding to. You're a very smart fighter. You have a high fight IQ, smart inside and outside the octagon, and that kind of carries into something we spoke about before. Because your father's Russian, your mom's Scottish, born in Hong Kong, and this whole kind of mix of stuff. You've been again, you've been in Russia, you've been in the States now. And so what has all that been like? Do you being you've shown, I saw your skills on Instagram. You can speak a little Russian. I know you're saying it wasn't the best, but you also threw out the Cantonese, which really is even more impressive with that. But how's this all kind of being the kind of this international kind of guy, having all of these experiences in all these different countries and cultures? Has that kind of transition to your fight game? Has that helped mold you into kind of maybe just becoming a better all-around person, all-around fighter?
absolutely. If there's one thing that I can benefit my parents, it's giving me the exposure of tons of culture and experience. I mean, I'm super fortunate. I don't come from I mean, maybe most people think I'm like some sort of super wealthy guy, but my dad worked very hard, and money was not something that he had, so he had to work very hard, especially as a diver. He was an entertainer, kind of like myself, a performer. But they taught me a lot of lessons at a young age, and respect everyone that you meet, and just be open, like open to learn, ask questions. And sometimes I was that annoying kid that would always ask questions and maybe get beat up by older people for asking them, but it was always something that stuck with me. And being able to learn, and just take in information and just put it in your back pocket, because you never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to come across. And I found if anything, you're going to meet people that you would never expect to meet in the most random places. And if you're like, oh, I've been here, or I've heard about that. And,
Mhm.
those things kind of not only make them feel comfortable because they're kind of talking about something that they know so much about, and that you're interested in knowing about it. And that's how you network. And, I've always just been about trying to be a positive influence. And it's not just fighting, but just as a person, just having good relationships with people. And you never know where it can go. Just be nice. And it doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like, what you do. It's all about how you act as a person. If you're coming at me aggressively or in a rude way, then like obviously we're probably not going to get along in some way. But at the same time, like I'm always there to just kind of, if anyone has a question or just, has some information that they want to share, like I'm always open ears. And that's the beauty of being in the sport of martial arts, because I'm forever growing. I'm always getting better. Like I've watched my fight over and I'm like, oh, dude, I got hit too many times. Like I could have gone through that fight and not get hit at all. Like that's how I truly felt. So there are certain aspects that I'm already like, I need to work on this. I need to work on that. And I know I just feel like that's like a benefit for me that I've had my whole life. Maybe when I was younger, as 18 years old, I was kind of like, I know everything. I'm the man, but I took that ego and threw it away, especially once I started to get more back into martial arts again as an adult. And was just willing to listen and just learn and just kind of go through experiences that you might at that moment think suck, but then when you look back on it, you're like, I'm really glad I did that, because I'm a better man because of it. And I can definitely share my stories and wisdoms with people who might need it. So yeah, it's one of those things where I just try to stay as open-minded as possible and just see what the world has in store for me.
World's a crazy place. Like, one thing, of course, everyone has the ability to, but if you do, it's really good to be able to travel to different countries, to be able to embrace different cultures. Like, I know I was super lucky in high school. I was able to travel to Osaka, Japan. I was over kind of your neck of the world as an exchange student for about a month.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, no, my Japanese sucks now, though. Even when I did travel, it was not very good. That's the thing. It's hard with like a lot of Asian languages. It just speaks so fast. Like,
Yes.
it's
hard, man. Languages are not easy, especially when you get punched and stuff. Your brain's a little bit out of it. No, but like,
Well, do you ever accidentally, like in your brain, you started speaking English and go into your Russian on accident? A couple screws loose with that.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially when I'm like in training and I'm hitting pads or something like that, and I'm just in that state of flow. Sometimes I'll just start swearing in Russian, and my coaches are like, "Wait, what did you say?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it." Like, it just kind of wires cross. But it's just one of those things. It's nice to have. I mean, if there's one thing that I wish I can improve right now, it's my Russian. I was very, very, I wouldn't say fluent, but I was very good back maybe 10 years ago when I was living there. When you're surrounded by the speakers constantly, that you have no choice. You have no choice but to speak, and you feel more comfortable in it. But I've been so far away from it, and occasionally I'll talk to my dad or my grandparents, but in reality, it's like, it's not enough. And now, after like going through this fight week and a lot of Russian fans were reaching out to me, I was almost embarrassed, so it's definitely something that I would like to work on. Maybe after I get a couple more fights under my belt, then I can maybe get a teacher or a tutor that I could put maybe some emphasis on learning. I think it would only be a benefit. But at the same time, even having a little bit of it is cool as well. And like you said, being able to speak a little bit Cantonese, being able to speak a little bit of Russian here and there, it's always a benefit. And like, if you can add languages to your kids or anything like that, I would always recommend it. It's nice. It's nice to know it, just to say arigato. I'm sure, just a couple words here and there it's always a pleasure to have that.
Well, to be honest, it's kind of fun to throw people off a little bit. I know white guy, if you throw out a bunch of like Cantonese or even if you just start speaking Russian real quick, it's fun to mess with people. I know, being a big white guy, it's fun to throw out a couple sentences in Japanese, really mess with people's head, like especially when I was over there. Did not expect me a little bit profiling. It's okay. I don't blame them, but when I throw out something in Japanese and be able to like understand them, throws people off for a second. So it's kind of funny.
Absolutely. And you can sit in the elevator and pretend you don't know what they're saying, but you do. So there's always benefits to it.
And then you turn around on them and say something. It's like, hey, man.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, did I just say that?" So I've definitely had a couple of those in my day, but it's all
That's
good.
awesome. And then let's talk about this one thing that we talked with some of the other fighters. Something we like to do is just real quick, call it fighter favorites. Got 5 things, just run through these and kind of the first thing that comes to your head. Okay, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, favorite food?
Pizza.
Pizza. Do you have a kind of favorite topping?
Pepperoni and jalapeno.
Love the jalapeno choice on there. Favorite music?
Ooh, 80s at the moment. I'm killing it on the 80s. I don't know if you heard my walkout song, but
Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's
the heat
very
is on.
descriptive. I love
Yeah,
that. You
Thank
got
you.
some good stuff right there. I mean, it's fun to vibe to a little bit.
Thank
Favorite
you.
hobby outside of the octagon, outside of fighting?
Ooh, I love sports. So I'm a huge soccer fan,
Mm,
football, as we
mhm.
call it in the UK, football. But I'm a
Oh,
Manchester
you can
United.
speak British too. What can't this guy do, ladies and gentlemen?
Mate, accents are one of my things, isn't it? No, I'm joking. But no, I'm a big sports fan. Like you said, rugby, basketball. I love all American sports. I'm a New York sports fan.
Mm,
I support the Bills. I got the Giants. I love all New York sports, Yankees, Knicks.
I
So
can
I'm
respect
definitely a
that.
huge,
I can respect
big,
that.
big sports fan. And when I'm not watching MMA or UFC, I'm watching some other sports. So that's definitely, I would say, my hobby.
That's awesome. Favorite movie or TV show?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say Kill Bill series. I'm a huge Kill Bill Quentin Tarantino fan.
Yeah.
It was very close to some music from their soundtrack coming out in that walkout
Yeah.
song. It was a real close toss up, but I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan. Shout out to Nick Dearman. He's also a good friend of mine. He's a big Tarantino fan. Went to film school. Yeah, I would say the Kill Bill. That series right there is probably one of my favorites.
Do you think the kind of MMA kind of martial arts stuff in there has something to do with it?
Of course.
Also,
I mean, let's
obscene
just be
amounts of
real.
violence. Who doesn't love that
I
too?
mean, come on now.
What's not to love with that? And then finally, who is outside of yourself, of course? Who's your favorite fighter?
It's a tie. I'll give you two fighters.
Okay.
Rafael Fiziev,
Okay.
that's my Kyrgyz Braja, and
Mhm.
Sean Strickland. Those two are my two favorite fighters currently.
Love that. That's what we got for you guys. Our fighter favorites, and then kind of to go into the last couple topics. You were talking, and everyone saw this video. Of course, you can go shout your Instagram real quick.
Sasha Palatnikov MMA.
And of course, I've been linked. But over on that Instagram, you're live after your flight. You just got home, all kind of stitched up, not too bruised up yet. They haven't formed. Didn't really have the chance. But you're talking. You kind of throwing a little shade at Mike Perry. Is that some guy you might be interested in fighting next? Is that would that be fun for you?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I signed that contract in a heartbeat. But he made a like so basically we have a window where we have to make weight.
Yeah.
And most fighters, they wake up, they want to get it done as soon as possible
Mhm.
so that you're there at like 8:45, and then as soon as 9 o'clock hits, people are getting the ball rolling, and then everybody's done by 9:30, 9:40, and then we can get back to the process of eating, rehydrating, and enjoying the rest of our day.
Yeah.
But of course, Mr. Perry likes to leave it, at till 10:56, 4 minutes before he shows up late, knowing he's not gonna make weight. And talking about on social media, sending all this, garbage to means all week, being unprofessional basically. And that stuff that stuff bothers me. Not only because I don't really care what he does in his own time, it's just more like it affects my time. When you affect my time, you're gonna bother me a little bit. And so I was just like, come on, man. Didn't I saw him during the fight week? I held the door open for him and his girlfriend, and he seemed actually pretty cordial. But that kind of stuff. At the same time, he's in the welterweight division. I don't care what your name is. If you're ahead of me or if you fought in the UFC before, I'm ready to fight you. I don't really care. But Mike Perry is a big name, and if the UFC were ever interested in making that fight happen, that'd be great. I don't know if he can even make 170, but 30% sounds good too. But if that was ever something to come to fruition, I would happily sign the dotted line. We got a few guys on the radar that we've been talking about for this second fight in the UFC, and
Mhm.
maybe I'm not worthy yet of his Instagram fame, but maybe down the road, or there's definitely some names there that I'm sure everybody's aware of.
Mhm.
And I'm going to sit down after Thanksgiving with my manager and coach, and we're going to kind of go through that short list. We got about 3 or 4 names that we're very interested in, and hopefully the UFC will be too. We're looking, maybe if something was to fall out, Fight Island, something like that, I would jump on it. But apparently, from what I understand, it's pretty booked right now.
Mhm.
So it's looking more like late February, early March, unfortunately.
Making us wait to see
But
you back. That
I
sucks.
know, I know, I want to keep that ball rolling, especially now that I'm feeling good. But at the same time, coming off 2 weeks with that COVID, it's going to give me a little bit more time to not only open up my lungs this winter. And, you know, I'm telling you, the polished piece that comes out in the next fight is going to be, let's just say I'm not going to have bruises under my eye like this again. So,
Well, if we saw your kind of performance on 2 weeks notice, especially after being hindered with the Rona, and then you can go from that into having a full camp. Oh man, I think we would just be in for a very special treat as fans across the world. And then especially if we get to see you against Mike Perry, whether it be your next fight, whether it be a little more down the road, I know that that is a fight that no one would have a problem with. I mean, we all know kind of MMA fan base, UFC fan base, a little fickle over on Twitter and stuff like that. Hopefully, you don't pay attention to that because it's kind of my job too. So I pay attention, but I still can't see anyone disagreeing with that fight. That would be absolutely phenomenal.
oh no,
And,
for sure.
and
For
then
sure.
with that being said, kind of is that what's next for you? Is what's next for Sasha Palatnikov is this fight in kind of February or March? Is that kind of the best we can do?
I mean, right now, like I said, if someone was to fall out in the next week or two, it would definitely be something I would jump on. Yeah, that's how I am. Like, if the opportunity is there, it's just literally the UFC. Their goal is to just book fights and make sure there's confirmed fights for the next few months. I just fought, and again, I'm I guess at the back of the queue in the way to get back in there. But like I said, we've already spoke with my manager and said, look, if there was an opportunity that came short notice, would you take it? I said yes. But I also have some personal stuff to take care of. Unfortunately, I don't hope my fiance heard that. But
we'll cut that out, man. We'll cut that out.
Yeah. I don't want to get in trouble now. But no, I'm gonna be going to France to visit December for Christmas, December 22nd. I haven't seen her in 6 months, so it's very important that I go out there and spend some time. But at the same time, I'm going to be out there training. I have some friends in the south of France.
Of course you do. I don't know where you don't have friends at. It seems everywhere you go, you just know someone.
Well, low key, I'm just gonna slide this in here. They probably aren't gonna want it, but you're about to see an up and coming or a new another guy that nobody knows about from France, light heavyweight. He'll be coming soon. I'm pretty sure he'll be getting announced. And he's a very good friend of mine and Matthew Polino's Science Striking. And you know, I'm gonna probably go down there and train with him and his buddies. He has a gym down there, and you know, when I go on holiday doesn't mean I'm sitting doing nothing. So it's just going to be an awesome environment just to get to see my fiance and see her family, and then also be able to, you know, I'm a UFC fighter now in France, so people are going to probably want to say what's up and train. So it'll be a good time, and I'll spend 2 weeks out there, and then as soon as I'm back here, first week of January, it's going to be like, let's put those blinders on and let's just get to work, because 2021 is like, I'm trying to fight 4 times, you know, 5 times if I can. So, you know, this is everything that I've been working for. Like I said, I've spoken to a lot of people prior to this moment, and I told them, look, my record doesn't show my experience. It's weird, but you just put a 1 in front of my fight, my win column, just put a 1 there, and that should be what it is. It's just I've had so many fighters fall out and so many opportunities of people not wanting to fight me. So it's just been hard. But now when you're fighting it against the best in the world, if they're turning you down, then we already know that's a big problem. So I don't think that's going to be the problem that we face anymore. And fights like Mike Perry or anyone for that matter in the welterweight division are something that I'm going to be taking and making happen as soon as possible.
Well, see, the overall record hardly matters. What the thing that we need to focus on is you're in the UFC, you are undefeated in the UFC, and that's the set to really focus on. Then with that being said, so hopefully you get the time off. You obviously deserve it, accomplish your things. Go get you to see your fiance for the first time in 6 months. I don't think anyone is going to be mad at that. And if they are, they need to shut up. So there's no issue with that. And then kind of the final question that I want to ask you, Sasha, is what do you want your legacy to be?
That's a great question. You know, for me, this whole process is like, at the same time, it's what I'm trying to accomplish, what I'm setting the goals that I want to do. But for me, you know, I've gotten messages, I've gotten people tell me that I've inspired them to do certain things and push them in ways that they've never thought they could imagine. And if I can have 1% or 0.1% of an influence on somebody and be positive, that's amazing. And you know, you know, like I'm no, I would say I'm no perfect role model. I don't think any such person exists. I've gone through ups and downs. I've done bad things in my life. I've done great things in my life. Everyone kind of goes through that. And if I can share my story and tell people kind of the road, the battles that I faced and how to overcome adversity and get to where you want to go. And if that could help inspire young minds, young fighters, athletes, just anybody that in my opinion would take something from it, that would be like a huge, it makes my heart feel good. Like I'm someone that likes to give back. I'm considering trying to raffle off some of this gear that I fought in on the weekend, so that people that are struggling through with this COVID and parents that are struggling through with
awesome,
looking for their kids, looking after their kids. I would love to donate that kind of
that's
stuff,
super
because
cool.
at the end of the day, like if you're not helping people, what's the point? Like I feel like if you can give back to people that, someone like yourself that's taking time out of their day to make this something for me, at the end of the day, it doesn't look like it, but you're helping me in the end, and you're promoting me as a fighter, and everyone that talks about me and sends me good wishes and all that kind of stuff it's all a positive thing that I consider it money in a way, so if I can give back in any way, get some of my fight jersey or my hat or anything that people are interested in, something that I'm definitely considering. And down the road, I would love to teach more clinics. A big goal of mine is to go back to Hong Kong and like help underprivileged kids just like get free lessons and training and just anything of that nature. We can sponsor them in gear, just something like that I can help. And because when I was young, I had people help in my family, and if I can get back, then that's something that I would really love to do. And of course, the ultimate goal here is to be Hong Kong's first ever world champ.
Damn
Put
right.
that belt around my waist, and that's been the number one goal. So if I can just kind of bring that champion mindset and hopefully solidify it with the belt and just kind of, be that person for people, then that would be my legacy, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't, that's okay too. Like I aim for the stars, and if I get just below it, that's great as well. And like I said, I hope I can inspire other people. Like hope I can make tons of friends and just kind of just have a good time through this journey, because we only live once, so we might as well have fun doing it.
100%. I love that so much. It's so cool to hear you guys be able to work this hard, and then to realize your roots, be able to try to give back to the roots, give back to the people around you. It really is inspirational. And from all the people I've talked to, I swear, out of all the professional athletes that I've had the amazing opportunity to talk to in the variety of sports. No offense to them, but it always seems like the UFC guys and fighters always the ones that are really just kind of almost like the next level in terms of just, man, it's hard to say, maybe grounded, down to earth, kind of these people that give everything to everyone and to the fan space. I mean, no other sport in the world do you go out there in shorts and fight in the cage until someone's either unconscious or you run out of time in front of millions of people. I know it's a crazy way to put it, modern day gladiators, but you guys, it always seems to be the best ones. Then with that being said, Sasha, we shout out your Instagram. We were able to shout out Justin Jane's Twitch page. You have anything like that? Anything you want us to check out?
Yeah, Sasha Palatnikov MMA, I believe, is my Instagram. Palatnikov MMA. I mean, I don't think many people have this name, so you just Sasha Palatnikov, you'll pretty much find it.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, but
I got a basic name, man.
that's all right, man. That's all good. You've got this beautiful set behind you. I love
Oh,
those flags.
oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Your company, that's
Yeah, with
awesome,
you, I
man.
might have to throw up the Hong Kong one too to represent.
Hey, I maybe I gotta send you. I'll send you one of my Hong Kong hats. You gotta give me your mailing address. Rock that.
Oh, I'll 100% rock that. Honestly, I do love the Hong Kong flag. I'm not even just trying to like blow smoke, but it's one of the better looking flags. Especially compared to the ones that are kind of around it. A little
Mm-hmm.
basic in terms. No
Mm-hmm.
offense, Japan, but red circle on the white flag, man, that's just not gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, you got to respect the Bohemia flower. We got that flower power. But no, man. Like I know I appreciate you reaching out, and you're my first interview since the fight. So,
Oh,
if you wanna take that as
first, hell
something
yeah.
historic
I'll
right there.
Hey, if you want to say that, I will promote the hell out of that using that. Don't you worry.
Absolutely, man. I'm down. I'm not sure if you're familiar with SCMP MMA, South China Morning Post. Um,
Oh, I was actually that's how I was actually able to get some of my background information on you when I was doing my research on this. A great
so
website. So let's shout them out too.
yes, we got Nick and John Hyun Ko, buddies of mine. We got Chris, a couple other guys that I've done podcasts with them. And they were like, they're my OGs, they're my day ones.
Hmm.
And I have a thing, like I'm a very loyal person. So usually when you're the first of something, I'm like, we're gonna have a long career together. And you being the first to come out of the ropes and get this interview straight after the fight, I think that's just gonna be a budding career moving forward. So you put yourself in a good place.
I am very, very glad to hear that. I am not going to complain whatsoever. Nick, it was actually the video I was watching with you. You're talking about this pre-fight. It was you guys talking. Phenomenal interview, by the way. So I will shout that. I'll make sure to link that one out. South China Morning Post was just scmp.com, and of course that'll be in the links, bios. Throw that up on Twitter and all that fun stuff. And I was very impressed. Like, not gonna lie, I felt a little starstruck when you replied to us that quick on Twitter. I was like, oh snap.
I mean, I mean, that's one thing as well. Like, I got a lot of people sliding into the DMs on Instagram, but it like goes into another folder and it's like kind
Yeah.
of a mess. So if anyone is listening to this and they like haven't been responded to by me, I'm super sorry, but I try my best. I'm usually pretty good and diligent with it, especially now that like I'm getting a little bit of attention. I'm trying to at least not be that guy, just ignores people, especially when you wish me like good luck and congratulations. So please don't feel like I'm being that guy. But if I haven't, slide into my comments, or if you want to get a little bit crazy, go on Twitter, message me. No one messaged me on Twitter, so usually those notifications pop up pretty quickly.
Hey,
Um,
that's the way to go. I always
yeah,
try to find the unfair. I mean, Instagram's a kind of a mess. Of course, you're verified there. The past couple of guys I've talked to, not verified on Twitter. So obviously we gotta fix it. We gotta get that check mark next to your name, make it look a little more official, because you at
yeah.
least deserve a little check mark next to you.
I have
Okay.
it now. It just came
Oh, you did.
today. Yes,
Oh,
yes, it's official. It's
yes.
official. It came today.
So does that mean you're famous now? Is
Pretty
that the
much, I
case?
guess. I'm Instagram famous. I got a blue check. Everyone's like freaking out, and I'm like, "What does it mean? Like exactly?" It's like it means it's you, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I
Like
think
I
it just
guess.
means that you can't change your handle now, and that's about it.
I
So
don't.
hopefully you like yours.
I mean, Sasha Palatnikov MMA. You can't get any more basic than that. But
Hey, it's not
can't go
basic.
wrong.
It's just it's perfect for you. So
There we
Sasha, I
go.
just want to say thank you again for taking some time out, enjoy this. Hopefully you're able to kind of rest, recover, get some more pounds back on you, get more of that walking weight built to enjoy some food.
Yes, let's eat.
Hey, what was the first meal you ate? I know you got home and you didn't even eat until like you finished your Instagram.
How about
So,
this? How about this? I give you a multiple choice
oh, I love a
question
good
here.
quiz.
All
Okay,
right. So,
okay.
A, Chick-fil-A. B, Domino's. C, Chipotle. Or D, Paisanos.
Oh, Paisan. No, they got one in Vegas. Oh, nice. Let's see. It might be just a guess, but we're going back to the fire favorites. You said pizza, so can we get Domino's?
Boom! Ding, ding, ding. You
Hey!
got it. Yep. Hit it with the Domino's, bro. That was
Woo!
the first thing I ordered. That pepperoni and
The pepperoni.
jalapeno had me sweating,
Oh,
but
have you had the Domino? I mean, hey, Domino sponsor us, both of us, please. If you want to.
hey, I'm a big Domino's fan since the college days, the 555. Come on now.
Let's
You
shout
know
that.
what I
I mean,
mean?
we had Justin James. We trying to shout out his love for Reese's Puff cereal. We try and get that sponsorship. We'll get you the Domino sponsorship. But speaking of which, that jalapeno cheddar cheesy bread.
Ooh, oh, yes, absolutely.
See, don't hate
Absolutely.
me. I'm not a huge fan of Domino's. If you're talking fast food pizza, I'm more of a Papa John's guy. But that
Okay.
cheesy bread from Domino's, when I'm actually like not dieting and I'm actually allowing myself to live a little bit, so,
Yeah.
so
Hell yeah,
good.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm a pretty clean eater like 99% of the time, but
Mhm.
like it's something that stuck with me since college. I mean, back when I was a broke college kid, spend $5, get a pizza. But I don't know what it was. I mean, I think that they're so convenient in the terms of how quickly they deliver the food. It always comes hot, and I mean, it's great. I love it. It doesn't
Hey, shout out Domino's, man.
always. Hey, the Domino's. You need to get in the
Love the
UFC.
Domino's.
Start repping the fighters. We eating your food, boys.
Hey, maybe when you guys go back to the Venom shorts here in 2021, maybe we start rolling out sponsorships again. Can we get a nice Domino's logo on your shorts? Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
getting on those
Bryce Mitchell got his
commercials.
camo shorts. Can we just
Uh,
get you on the commercials?
yeah,
Yes.
I'll
They
deliver
had the
some
Toyo
Dominoes.
tires. Hey, they had Francis Ngannou in the truck for the Toyo tires commercial. Let's get you in the driver's seat of a Domino's delivery vehicle.
There you go. I'm already wearing blue right now, baby. Let's go.
It writes itself. Domino's. Not only am I ready for a sponsorship for both me and Sasha, of course, but I'm ready for
Course.
you to put me on your marketing team because that's just where we're going with
Hey,
this.
this guy's going places. Let's get this noted. Let's tag them. Let's get viral. Let's let Domino's know. Let's get it going.
Hey, all you viewers, right now, we tag Domino's. Once you hear this, we're going to tag Domino's. Like we're doing Justin James. We're trying to tag Stone Cold Steve Austin because he wants to meet him. We're trying to make that happen. Let's make you become the new face of Domino's. Is that
There
a
we
plan?
go. Let's do it. There we go.
Hey, I
All
scratch my
day.
back. You scratch my back. I scratch yours, and we're both going to eat
Hey.
Domino's once I'm done with this stupid diet, and you're not cutting weight.
Hey man, that sounds like a great plan to me. Now that we're coming into Christmas time, Thanksgiving, you know what I mean? You guys are looking forward to
It's about
eating.
here.
It's
That's
about
my
here.
one cheat day
It's
in two
about
months,
here.
and it's gonna be a glorious day. Glorious day.
Yeah,
Oh
I
man.
can't wait.
So
The
turkey and
PI
ham.
actually, the beauty of this is since I've been signed to the UFC, the PI actually told me I can gain 9 more pounds of muscle. So if anything, I might have to accredit Domino's to the gains. So when I come out in my next fight looking even bigger and crispier,
It's because of Domino's.
it's gonna be Domino's. You know what I mean?
All right, here's the deal. Once you get every time you knock someone out, that's like a free personal pizza from Domino's for all that use like the promo code or something.
There you go. If Sasha wins by KO, everyone gets a medium 2 topping pizza on the house. Let's go.
Domino, call us, man.
Oh,
I've been trying to.
let's
Maybe you can help me now. You're in there, but me and our UFC correspondent, we've been trying to make these fights happen. We're trying to get Sean Shelby on the phone. He's not picking up. Maybe you can help us out with that one now.
I mean, hey, it's, like I said, it's all about networking. We got the right people in the right place. It can all come together. Let's just see. Let's just see.
Man, Sasha, this has been a blast. I'm so happy that we're able to get this time. I mean, you got a little extra sleep before we record, so it's even better. I think it worked out then
Definitely.
anyway. Who needs alarm to go off? They're only.
Bro, it worked out late. I was a bit upset because I set my whole day around, meeting and talking to you at 6:30, but I think if I'd come in and stayed awake at 6:30, maybe it would have been a little bit flatter. But I got to recharge the batteries a little bit with that nap.
Oh yeah.
Woke up and was like, I didn't know where I was for like 10 minutes, and then I was like, oh
Oh, it's
shit,
one
I
of those
gotta I
kind of
gotta
naps.
interview. Yeah, it was supposed to be like an hour, which turned into 4, and then
That you don't
my
know what
body
year
was
it is
like,
when you wake up.
dude, I didn't even know. I was like, I'm in the UFC. I had no idea what was going on. Honestly, I was so confused. But then I was like, oh, and then Twitter. I mean, I never used Twitter until I just fought this weekend. I literally just started using Twitter. So I was like, oh yeah, I was talking to this guy on Twitter. So I was like, I had to make sure that I was checking my messages there. I was all over the place. It was like I got hit in the back of the head 17 times again. I was just all over the place.
Wait,
So
are you saying that you did actually get hit in the back of the head 17 times in your fight? Crazy, crazy.
not
No one saw
today.
that. Not today,
Not
at
today.
least.
Not today. But
Doesn't matter if
yes,
you get hit.
unfortunately.
Doesn't matter how
Yeah.
many times you get hit in the back of the head. It only matters if you're able to land that right hook and drop him.
Yeah. I mean, at the end
It
of the
loosened
day,
you up, right? Little CT,
it
keep you
woke me
feeling
up.
warm.
I was a little bit tired. I mean, I was napping before the fight, and I just need to get hit a couple times to just realize, oh, we're here, and then let me just get back into things. And
I feel like that's a real
spinning
thing.
back fists and elbows later, everything
I don't
came
know how
back.
he didn't drop that spinning back fist. It looked like
Yeah.
I think Paul Felder would have been impressed by that spinning back fist.
I
And
mean, the noise that thing made. Yeah, I was surprised as well.
if
It was.
there's anything that the empty arena kind of setting has done positively, it's been unreal being able to hear some of the shots that get landed. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound good.
Yeah, in our fight for sure. Like I like after watching it back and listening, like the sound of leather hitting body is actually quite a pleasurable sound. Like you're like, yes, Good. That landed hard. That's exactly what I intended. And yeah, it was like I said, it was awesome. I'm actually really excited to fight in front of fans. I can't even remember what that's like anymore.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Well, what sucks is that people have been, well, unfortunately, there wouldn't have been too many people in the arena at that time, considering you're the first fight. But for anyone that would have been there, would have been on their feet the whole time. So, but the thing is, now people are going to be that much more excited for you, that much higher of a anticipation for you. So, of course, by then you'll be on at least the prelims, if not the main card itself, when people show up. They'll be
I hope
that
so,
much louder for you, and it's going to be that
for
much better.
sure. Absolutely. I'm excited. I mean, like I said, I was excited to get this opportunity, but now it's like, good. We got the ball where we want it to be, and let's bounce it up the court and dunk that shit. You know, everybody's gonna be happy with what they see, and giving me that opportunity to be at a better time slot, I guess you could say, more viewers, will be awesome.
100%. And like we were saying, Sasha, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Sasha Palatnikov, the man of many languages, the man of only bonuses. Well, if you want to go off of that, you have a 100% clip of getting bonuses in your UFC fight. So you're perfect if you want to go.
Can I give you another statistic?
Yes, please.
I have 100% takedown rating
Defense.
too.
Oh,
No, no,
oh,
not
oh, sorry.
defense.
You got that. He took no, no. You
Did
got
he
that
take
thing.
me? Oh yeah, but I kind
Nah,
of gave it up though. Did they count that as a takedown? I
I
actually need to check that.
believe they did. Let's double check
Uh-huh.
UFC.
Yeah, see the
Yeah,
statistic there,
it depends. It's
but
those
I
takedowns are
landed a
tricky.
takedown in that fight, and I'm 1 for 1, so I'll take that 100%.
Hey,
You know,
one for
wrestling.
one, 100% knockdown or 100% TKO rating. He's only finished all of his UFC fights, undefeated, um, defending any positive aspect, any positive set you want to throw his way. Let's just shower him in praise.
I got I got another statistic for you. I
Yes,
have
sir.
never lost at 170 pounds. I've only lost at catch weights, or I've the two losses I have. I fought Munir at a catch weight
Mm-hmm.
on 5 days notice, and then that fight where the guy came in 24 pounds over.
That's right.
Um,
You've
so
also never lost a fight where on the same card Mike Perry has missed weight by over 5 pounds.
that is true. That is very true.
I,
That
I
is a
love this.
fact.
I love this one stuff because we could make up just a bunch of stats.
About
I mean, be
anything.
like,
Yeah. You know, the UFC loves statistics,
oh,
so it's like if we can just come up with a accumulation of just ridiculous stats, and then maybe we can pass them on and have the guys reading them out. You know, as I'm warming up in the ring. You know what I
hey,
mean?
I got a plane ride tomorrow, and so and the layover. So in those times, I'll just be typing on my notes page. We'll get every single stat imaginable for you, Mister Plitnikov, and
That's
we'll be
awesome.
good.
Where are you headed? Where are you headed for
um,
Thanksgiving?
of course, Boise, Idaho. That's where I'm living now, but I'm visiting my
Awesome.
parents back home in Northern California. Of course,
Okay.
hopefully,
Cool.
luckily they miss me at least a little bit, so
Oh,
gotta
nice.
spend
It'll be
Thanksgiving.
good to see the family, have some food.
My
Make sure you're
mom, your
wearing your
dad,
mask indoors, though, right?
indoors. Can't be outside after 10.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
before 5. I think just a spite, I might go for a run before 5 o'clock. Who
But
knows?
don't let Corona catch you on your run, okay? Because as long as you're in that time frame where Corona can't get you at that time, you know what
Well,
I
the
mean?
thing is, it motivates me. I will run. I will outrun Corona.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
Go
too
to the
fast.
stay near mountains and snow. They don't like that. It worked for me. So
Hey, work for you. Oh, damn, there's a hill that goes over train tracks. I will try that out.
hit that hill, brother. Hit that hill.
What the hell? You keep hitting people in the UFC. This has been Sasha Plitnikov. Ladies and gentlemen, check him out everywhere. We'll link his Twitter. We'll link his Instagram. Domino's at us, please. John Shelby at us, please. Because not only do we want sponsorships, I want to be a part of the marketing team because we will only make you better. I need Sasha getting free pizza for every fight. I need free pizza for knockouts. Anything you can do, let's make this happen. But
Let's
ladies and
do it.
gentlemen, make sure to check him out everywhere. If you don't know who he is, if you didn't know who he is, now you definitely know who the hell he is. He's a man that's going to fight. He's a man that is going to weather storms. He's a man that's going to knock people out and collect that extra 50 G's, baby. And
50 G's.
We will catch you in your next fight. Can't wait for that. Too bad it's not going to be this year. Hey, maybe someone pulls out. Who knows? Let's not
Yeah.
dash the
Fingers
hopes
crossed.
yet. Fingers. Hey,
Fingers
UFC
crossed.
256 is still coming up. That's a really good time. Get yourself on another pay-per-view, of course.
There you
But
go.
we'll look. We'll watch in high anticipation for your next fight. Of course, we'll stay in touch. We might have to get this man on the show again. Because hey, you said I was the first, so I'm going to use it and I'm going to abuse it. Okay.
Absolutely. It's going to be the first, and I'm sure not the last. Feel free to, if you ever want time to talk about stuff and see how things are going, you're always more than welcome to message me. Never feel that you can't do that.
Yes, sir. Okay. Hopefully you don't regret that. You give me an inch, I will take a mile, and that is a promise that I can
That's
make to
awesome.
you. I'm a man of my word.
Hey, me too.
All right, Sasha. Have a great evening where you are. Hopefully your nap didn't mess you up too much. Hopefully you can actually go to sleep now, because I know sometimes that's how that happens. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the very end of this. Make sure to check us out over www.thefourthlong.com, Twitter, Instagram. I think we have a Facebook. I hardly use it because Facebook's for not my demographic. Let's be real. And then check out our store, all of our merch, special promo code ELITE. You get free shipping and everything for our Black Friday and roll into Cyber Monday deals. So that's what we do here. Go bother Domino's. Just keep adding them.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one.